AOC and Philips flew me out to Valencia to take a look at some of their new monitors. Specifically, they have a new, effectively sort of brand or setup with their Agon Pro line, which this is the sort of good, better, best sort of price point and sort of quality and features. And these are their new sort of high-end flagships. A number of these monitors have mini LED backlights, which allow for a much better, say, HDR experience, as well as, of course, better local dimming as well. So I want to run you through a couple of these new monitors, as well as some of their new Philips ones as well, both from their new gaming line and their more standard or existing Momentum line, which is the sort of hybrid gaming for the sort of person who might want to game on your new console, like an Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5, but also perhaps game on PC too. For me, one of the highlight monitors here is, and I'm going to read from my cheat sheet, the AG274QXM. This is a mini LED backlit display, which I'll go into in some more detail later, but it has 2,000 mini LEDs to form its backlights. It's a 1440p 170Hz panel and display, and offers HDR 1000. Now, it is also going to cost about 1,000, so you'll have to prepare your wallets, but it should offer a pretty interesting sort of proposition in the gaming market, being, of course, 1440p 170Hz, but also IPS and fast IPS, and with those 2,000 mini LEDs, again, that gives a much better sort of HDR experience, but also a remarkable amount of brightness, obviously with the HDR 1000, and better local dimming as well. You also have the AG274UXP, which is their nano IPS 4K 144Hz panel, and it's also 27 inches. It has HDR 600 because of its nano IPS panel rather than the mini LED one. And it also costs about 1,000, but offers 1 millisecond gray to gray, at least that they quote anyway. And they've also introduced a new G-Sync Ultimate display, which is the AG274QG. It's actually the one that's directly behind me. This has the reflex low latency analyzer built in that we've seen before. It's the G-Sync R4, or I assume revision 4, that is sort of the cream of the crop, and obviously allows HDR as well. It is also a 1440p IPS panel. It's a 240Hz panel with, again, a remarkably fast response time. They also talked quite a lot about low input lag across all of these monitors. They were quoting around 1.4 to 1.6 or 1.8 milliseconds of input lag, which generally from my testing is a pretty decent result. So if we can validate that in reviews, again, that's a pretty good sign, and especially for very high-end monitors like these, which again, all of these cost around about the €1,000, or I would assume around about the £1,000 mark. That's something that I would definitely like to see. They've also added a selection of new changes, things like a slightly new design to the back and slightly more, I would call, refined RGB. They've also got a new logo projector that projects their logo onto your desk, which actually looks quite nice. You can change between the text logo or the image logo. Unfortunately, it's not programmable. That would definitely be nice to see, but there you go. We also have a sort of hat switch to control the menu system, which is definitely a lot easier to navigate. Plus, they have their software that lets you control the monitor from inside your Windows, for example, which is definitely a nice addition, and especially on these more premium monitors where they have a whole load of different settings, it's definitely a nice touch. As for their Philips Momentum line, they actually have two new sets of monitors. They have an addition to their standard Momentum line with, instead of the 55-inch that I've actually reviewed in the past, which I'll try and remember to leave in the cards above for you, they now have a 31.5 or 32-inch 4K monitor and a 27-inch monitor as well, both of which support 4K 120 or 4K 144Hz. Both have HDMI 2.1. And just reading from my cheat sheet here, the 27-inch model is designed with HDR 600, whereas the larger 31.5 or 32-inch monitor is HDR 400. Both are low input lag. They quoted that 1.4 to 1.6 millisecond range. Both have FreeSync, as you might expect, but they also both have a USB-C KVM, or at least an option, that has up to 65 watts of power delivery to charge your device, which again is a nice touch to make these as versatile as possible. And finally, their newest line is the M3000 and M5000 series of monitors. These are their new PC gaming monitors. Of course, you can still use them with consoles, but they're more focused on PC gaming with a slightly more refined style, a slightly less aggressive look to them, and some pretty impressive specs to go with it. And they also launched a selection of new peripherals too, like this ultra lightweight mouse with a rather nice, almost lava flowing through your hand aesthetic, and a ridiculously lightweight, as well as a wireless gaming headset, and a bunch of new peripherals as a whole, including keyboards, mice, and mouse pads. So feel free to check out some links in the description if you want to take a look. Of course, I do want to thank AOC for bringing me out to the very sunny Valencia, which is a nice change from the now slightly, actually very cold Britain. If you want to see more videos, of course, from me, then you can hit that subscribe button, and so you can stay up to date on reviews of hopefully all of these, because these are actually pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to taking a look at them. And otherwise, there will be more videos on the end cards you can check out. And there'll be plenty of links to these monitors and the press releases and some previous videos both on the end cards and probably in the description as well. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the description too. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.